Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Tarot for Our Times. This is Sarah, your medium on the go. And just when you thought the news couldn't get any crazier, although I don't know if anybody even thinks that anymore, and this could be in the realm of conspiracy theories, but all over Facebook, there was a simple post saying that the Russian press has said that MAGA is responsible for the Kirk murder and that it was an inside job by the regime. Now, I will do a reading on this, but I am not going to come to any conclusion as to whether this is true or not, because we don't have enough information. Russia could just be pulling this out of the air as one of their intimidation things, just like all the nudie pictures of Melania after the election. It could be one of these things to show who's daddy here. Now, and it's a power play. Now, I really think that this was put out there because of all of a sudden this sudden support for Ukraine. Now, this, of course, will give, the conspiracy theories will be all over the place. But the thing that you have to ask about a conspiracy theory that makes some people believe them is, would this be possible? Is this in the realm of possibility? And I think that's what I want to look at tonight. I don't want to get into any, because this is a very serious thing. Instead of getting into any accusations, I just want to do a reading and see if this is even possible. Now, the card wasn't too hard to pick this, but the card for Russia that not only did I come up, I think all of us thought of it at once. I don't think anybody was copying anything, but the Empress. And so I put in the thumbnail, I put the Empress in reverse because, upright, she's all kind of fertile and abundant. But the thing is that Russia's in really, really bad shape because of the Ukraine war, certain things that Biden did while he was in office, kind of defunding the oligarchs, seizing yachts. They've overextended themselves in this war. They don't have much of an army left. It's drained, and sanctions and all that has just drained the treasury. So it's no longer the abundant thing. But when this lady is in reverse and her kingdom is threatened, she will do anything she can do to strike back. She gets very, very desperate in the reversal position. So I just want to take a look at, is this even possible? Is it, it's, the conspiracy theories, they're kind of a funny animal because there could be some truth to it, and sometimes the wildest ones have kind of come to pass. So I've been shuffling, thinking about this as I've been shuffling the decks along. So I want to see if it's even in the realm of possibility that this could be true. I don't know that if it is, I don't think that anybody in the Justice Department's going to be investigating it, but let's see if I'm not saying if it's true or not true. I'm just saying that apparently the Russians thought that there may be some information and some theories to feel as though this could be true. So that's what I'm going to take a look at in this reading. We'll just see where it goes. But okay, so Here we go. So the base card for this reading is, oh, interesting. This is the Queen of Swords. And it is kind of, well, Mother Russia, kind of the female energy, all that sort of thing. Thing about this card is that she's holding that sword, and you never know when she's going to wield it and probably what she's going to say, but she's thinking it out. So what this is telling me is that the Russians really thought it out and did for some reason think, okay, it's pretty wild, but in the realm of possibility. Okay. This also tells me that there may be stuff that they know that they're holding back on a little bit, but they've sown the seeds out there. So they have all kinds of stuff on all kinds of people. So who knows? What, it could be fabricated, it could be true, who knows? Okay. In the before tarot we have leading up. Leading up is the Three of Pentacles. So these guys are getting ready to go in to negotiate. What this looks like is that they're maybe throwing this out there because there could be some Ukraine negotiations, and they might be saying, look, we've got stuff, we've got our little spy network going on, saying there's something funny that is adding up about this. So looks like in the realm of possibility. Whether they did it or not, that's something else. Okay, so I'm shuffling up the after tarot, okay, so in the after tarot we have, the stealing of the sea. It's kind of like someone is stealing, thieving, but they are just about to walk into a trap. So what this is saying is that it could be literally giving someone enough rope to hang themselves. Let them think they're getting away with it. They get overly confident, and then they step right into the trap as a result of this thievery. So this is coming in the realm of the possibility, but it's also making me, now there could be some intelligence that they have, because I think they're all over the place, that could be interpreted as to, yeah, they did, or maybe, no, they didn't. But they do have a way of spinning things, I will say that. Okay, so the energy behind this is the Hermit in reverse. So somehow this can go to not being incredibly enlightened and afraid to be alone. This may be knowing that, this may be knowing that they pretty much have Kank's numbers, because he does have this whole thing about not, I think, being afraid of being alone. And somehow they're going to try to exploit that. And he's saying all kinds of crazy things. Argentina, this and that, who can keep up? So maybe they're feeling as though they can see this weakness in him, which is a very big energy, and that they could somehow twist or distort something about that maybe the administration did, with the motive being that Kirk had said, he said, release the Epstein files. Then I think he said, forget about it. Then he was back to, who knows, back to release the files. So maybe there was a little bit of that people could figure, oh, a little bit too much of a loose cannon with our guy here. So, and then we were, never pass up the opportunity when you can blame the liberals for something. So, what I want to do here now is see what's underneath all of this. I think if they want to, point some fingers, they could probably do it pretty effectively. Don't forget their fearless leader was KGB, and that KGB loves this kind of stuff. Okay, so underneath it we have the Knight of Cups, bringing the romantic message. In this case, it would be, for the press to, to be delivering this message with the overall goal of the whole romantic thing of the Soviet Union coming back to life and taking over the world, and how glorious it would be. Okay, then we have justice. So I'm going to take this in the pure karma sense, in that I've been saying this all along, like Putin and the guys, they're kind of figuring out that, well, we do need that. He is a useful idiot to be in there, but he's really becoming too much of a loose cannon, and that maybe they're feeling like karma time, boys and girls, especially that I think that supporting Ukraine could be a last of many, not too many more last straws. And then they feel as though by weakening him in the eyes of the American people, and, this is a good argument to throw out. Yeah, let's have people arguing about whether he's behind this killing or not, and that brings them closer to victory. So, what I would say is that they seem to feel as though he is truly capable of this, and that he could get others to do it. So, that is what's going on. So, the opposing energy would be, death. The death card. As I have been saying all along, that the end of this regime is not going to come in one big blaze of dramatic, whatever. But death, he just keeps going along, just slowly but surely going along. And I think Russia wanting to destroy us and take over the world is the long. The death card represents to me the long game. The long game of just moving right along there. This is no galloping night. So there is a purpose. So the Russia, it's feasible that, let's feed this stuff out, We had the millennia picks. So why not do this? It's just helping them march. Although what they don't realize is that this is not 1953, and that maybe it's not going to be that by trying to do this, they're going towards their own death as a nation. So there's that to consider. So let's see. As far as the capability goes, let's see. I think the Russians think that we do believe he's capable of this. So let's see on the conscious level, and I think maybe taking this from the Russian perspective. So on the conscious level, with this new thing they're just flinging right out there, we have the Four of Swords in reverse. In reverse, this is all about. I think the Minor Arcana has a number of death cards. I think that this Four of Swords in reverse is a death card because, or on their last gasp, because this whole thing is, they thought they were going to march out and it would be over in 3 hours, and it's like 3 years now, over 3 years going on Four of Swords going on 4. There's not much more they can take, so let's just throw some stuff at the wall. But it has to be believable. See, that's the thing. Has to be believable to get them squabbling. So this is their desperate attempt to resuscitate themselves. And I mean, that explains the drones over Poland and all this sort of thing. Okay. On the subconscious level, we have, Three of Cups in reverse. Whoa, no need to celebrate. Morale is low. I would imagine that there's the vodka is being slammed down. So we've got a drinking country that is very depressed. Cups in reverse, very depressed. So out of some very deep subconscious thing, like, yeah, we got to do something to lift this. Okay, so in the past, with the before tarot, we have, see, the Page of Wands. When this little guy's upright, it looks like he's saying a prayer. It's like the football players, some of them before the game, when they're in the huddle, they give a little prayer before they go out on the battlefield, and that's what this guy is doing, but he's in reverse. So he's going through the motions, knowing that this thing is not catching on fire. This, I would say, in 22, this little sucker was upright. We're praying, we're inspired, we're going to go and kick the shit out of them. But this guy's in reverse, so it's kind of like they're going through the motion, knowing they're just not doing too well. So this is in the past. So this has been building up for a while. I think they're putting out some other stuff. Some of it's pretty outrageous, but that's the thing, is it always has to have a little bit of a grain of truth to it. So let's see what's going on with this now. We have the Six of Cups. Yep. Why don't we go back to our toxic past and pull some old tricks out of the bag? But those tricks don't work unless there is some believability to it. So they seem to think there is some capability of it. As again, I'm saying for entertainment purposes, I'm not saying this is predicting or that this is saying that that's what happened. But we're saying is that it's possible. It's like, who would put anything past them? So they're kind of going back to the past, to the old playbook. Whether it works or not, that's a whole other story. So another one in the present. Yep, this is the dream, their dream of conquering the world that hasn't been working out too well. It hasn't been. So again, with the death card, it says, yep, we're in it for the long game. So this isn't the only thing. This is one of many things. And if the thing is, it's not only going to get MAGA versus non-MAGA argumenting with this. And believe me, people have been fighting about this Charlie Kirk thing like nonstop on the internet. But I think what's going to happen is it won't only be like with Charlie Kirk, it's like sort of like the right wing, is St. Charlie. The left wing is saying this killing was appalling, but get a grip, folks. That doesn't make someone a saint. Okay. I would say in the ranks of MAGA, this could get people fighting too, because there are, see, there's a crack in the card. So so the Russians would not only like to have right versus left fighting, but MAGA versus MAGA. They just make this whole thing more complex. So, coming up in the near future with this is the Seven of Wands. So this is about kind of like holding off the attack and all this sort of thing. So I would say that that he's in reverse. He's fighting a losing game. I think what this is saying, as far as the Russians go, is that we've got quite a few weapons left in our arsenal. This is one of them. This is saying there will be more coming, but there's so much coming at them, they haven't been able to find off. So why don't we find something juicy to talk about? Okay, so coming up more in the future with the After Tarot is, okay, we have the Four of Wands. See, we had it in reverse earlier. So you've got the Four of Wands, and I think what's happening is that the guy has had his rest. The lady here, he's all refreshed. Lady here is she's there to, what is she doing? Okay, she's there to bring him something to eat, a cup of coffee, saying, okay, it's time to get up and fight another day. So I think they're going to run. I think what'll happen is that this is kind of what they do. They're going to put it out there. Then you won't hear anything, just like you did with the Melania pictures. You didn't hear anything, and then boom, they were published in the paper again. So this is kind of like, okay, all righty, time to get up and fight another day. And I think this will be the method, is that they're going to push, pull with this, like, throw out the inferences, throw out some kind of proof. And even if they're half-truths, it does show that they at least believe that it's quite possible that this could happen. So let's dig a little bit further on. So we have, now we have the Two of Wands. She's in reverse, but this is like, I think the wife saying, okay, you've made your plans, time to come in and rest for another day. But it's in reverse, saying, okay, I'm bringing you some refreshments, but nobody's going home yet. So this is telling me is that, okay, they're going to take these little rests, and they're just going to be like, feeding us with some stuff about how this could be possible. I would say, to not get the YouTube people too upset, is like, I don't think it's impossible, okay? Let me put it that way. And I think the fact that we can think of it's like in the mildest way, like, well, it's not impossible. Well, see, we have all these rods, and that's what you light the fires with them. They're the fuel for the fire. Look at all these rods. That, it's like they're building the fire. They're building the fire to say it is, because they wouldn't put it out there unless they didn't think it was possible. So one more in the future we have here, since this is, here we go. Again with the Three of Cups. So, since this is after, it kind of looks like the cups are parted in this. I think we've had enough now. We've celebrated. Now we're real, buddy. So we'll just, chill out for a while. But this is in reverse, is saying, like, they do run the risk of going a little bit overboard with it, to the fact of, well, maybe people won't believe it. So it's a risk that they are taking with this. And then, let's see what we have in the hopes and the fears. Well, I think the hopes is like the hope is that they're sending it out there with the people digging up and maybe making up some conspiracy theories, and It's just kind of like waiting and seeing, but the fear is that this could get away from them and it could backfire. Okay. Then we will have, so I'm going to say what I'm going to do this a little bit different. Usually is what they say about themselves, what others say. Okay, so we're going to do what the Russians say and what the United States will be saying about this theory. As I'm saying, it's only a theory, hasn't been proven. Okay, so the Russians. Okay, I think I want to do this. Okay, so with the Russians, it is what they're thinking is, oh, the Hierophant in reverse. This could be chipping away at some of the, and if, in fact, if it did turn out to be true, that does pretty much set our institution on its ear. But I think there's also the fear with that going is that Russians will say, we might send our institutions on its ear. And that if something like that were to be true, they have to be careful because that can mean, removal from office and worse. And as much as they're not too crazy about them, I don't think they'd want an abrupt removal of the whole thing. And so they're kind of on a precarious thing with this tale they're putting out there. So let's see what the U.S. thinks about this. Now, isn't this interesting? The Five of Pentacles. This whole regime is on the world, because we're looking at the world stage aside from this domestic act of violence, is that this is the United States now being left out in the cold. That United Nations speech didn't help very much either. And so, in a further seeing our position weakened in the world stage is that that maybe some people in desperation of wanting this to whole change is that this story could get some traction and people may believe it because they'll be fed stuff like, you look at this and look at that, and which does kind of make it believable. So I think the thing is that with the U.S. being left out in the cold on the world stage, is that maybe people getting desperate enough to believe anything to get rid of this, whatever you want to call it. So it could catch on. It could catch on. It could be making people, when you have nothing left, let's see what dirt we can dig up to bring this whole nightmare to an end. So it's kind of a weird thing. Is it? We're not at a really high point on the world stage. So let's see a concluding card for this. If it's believable to catch traction. Okay. Oh, interesting. We got the Four of Wands in reverse, which is about marriages and partnerships. So in personal readings, I always see this as a breakup of a relationship or, divorce, that sort of thing. So this is the kind of thing that is, further, if this is found to be like a big bunch of hot air, this is even further alienation from Russia. They could go, accusing the White House. It could go to inside the White House, where this could drive. Then they'll say, "Oh, good, I'm just going to send a whole shit ton of arms to Ukraine." If that kind of. I mean, he could do that. So there could be there's so many possibilities with this card. Is that not only the further divide between the United States and Russia, but it could also mean it's like with all of each other. is it something like this truly drives a wedge. And I mean, friendships have been ending. Marriages were ending before Thanksgiving over this election. I mean, literally, they were. So this is something to further kind of split the country. But this is telling me that there will be people that are seeing that this is possible. Or at least saying, you know what, it's not impossible. So I want to throw down a couple of clarifiers here. So, okay. I don't think I'm going to need to do any few card readings. Okay, so let's see what we have here to clarify this. Walking away. This is kind of a touchy situation because if whatever Russian propaganda be there that may be true or not true, they always find a little grain of truth. They're very good at that. It could mean people walking away, and also in a weird way that maybe even people, if they really feel that this is true, it could be means, because they revere Charlie Kirk, and if they think that this administration had anything to do with it in the slightest bit, this may be them breaking away from MAGA and reconciling with family members they didn't have last Thanksgiving dinner with, saying, oops, you were right. He's an awful person. So another one would be, the Page of Cups. Titty baby card. Okay, expect with even a hint of this, expect look, he's even wearing orange tights. Oh, I didn't notice that before. Okay, so expect the biggest baby tantrum from a you-know-who over this whole thing, which, I don't know, people have got to be getting tired of this. So the really twisted, ironic thing about this, if there's no if they find out there's absolutely no way this administration had anything to do with that killing, he will throw the biggest titty baby tantrum. I think even the Red Hatters, they've got to be getting tired of that. I mean, it's getting really tiresome. So he's not going to help. I'll put it this way. He's not going to help himself with these suspicions at all, because we've learned that when he plays victim, he's as guilty as hell. So in this case, he may not be, but he doesn't know how to do anything else. So that's not going to help in taking the suspicion away. Okay, so here we have, in the end, the Queen of Wands in reverse. I think what could happen is that this could take Melania back to those pics they were putting in the Russian papers, and that she may end up throwing the biggest hissy fit about that, and getting kind of like caught in, that maybe, see, the thing is, I think she kind of despises him, but she's kind of playing along right now, because if he gets totally destroyed, that kind of ends her little gravy train. So I think she'd like to see him maybe for entertainment purposes. Let's just put it this way. If he croaked, I don't think she'd be that upset, but from natural causes. But I think if she throws a big hissy fit over this kind of accusation, first it's kind of like she's sort of doing it, for the pictures too. But I also think it's like she's saving her position. It would be like, not that she gives a shit about him, but it would be that it's not good for her either, because then the money train is over, and she'll say, what did I just waste the past 25 years of my life for? So it to serve her own interests, I think she would be definitely be, um, defending him. So this is a complex thing. So let's see what I can do to wrap this up. I would say there's enough possibility that maybe, whether it's true or it isn't, that people would be wondering. Maybe some people, those that love conspiracy theories and on the right and the left, may run with this, which is not going to be real helpful. And but the thing is that the fact that it's not an impossible thing, considering the crazy things that he does when he's desperate. But it'd be I would caution people to say, you really need to have some truth for this. But you can speculate as to whether it's possible. I would say the Russians seem to, I'll put it this way, the Russians seem to think so enough that they could do some pretty convincing spin because it works for their event. So what is going to happen with this? It may die in the water. It may not. I don't know. But apparently there are people that feel as though this is quite possible. It's not that it's any proof, but it is within the realm of possibility. So whether it's true or it isn't, there are many factions to think that even the discussion of this to cause argument and chaos does figure to people's advantage. So, as I say, energy on all of this stuff changes, so I guess we just have to wait and see what happens. This could be, although the Russians are, it depends on our news and what they pick up about that. But it is all over the internet, so if the Russians don't have very much more, this is something that could die. But right now, I would say if it seems to do that, that I do feel as though they'll be back. That's the whole thing. So my advice would be to kind of, keep these stories at an arm's length for now without any truth, and to, and whatever you do, don't get into any big Facebook arguments over this. I think it's a pretty dicey subject, so we'll have to wait and see. So with that, I'm going to sign off for now. Bye.